Hi guys, Brian Schroeder here with Suzanne Luther. We're going to talk about 5 steps to a successful flip today. So we lend to people that rehab houses and people that are doing the BRRRR method, and we lend on the front end. So when we're rehabbing houses, people are obviously buying a house, rehabbing, and reselling it. So we're going to talk today about the 5 steps to a successful flip. So you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Let's do it. First one is know your numbers. What do you mean by that?
Knowing your numbers is so critical because I feel like a lot of people have heard the saying, like, you make your profit on the front end with your purchase. Yeah. So you need to be able to back into what your offer should be. So that starts with knowing your ARV. What is it worth? And not like maybe what a stretch number is, but what's a realistic number all day long that house should sell for.
Yep.
Taking into consideration, is it on a busy road? Does it have a crappy yard? Is it weird? So just making sure to really take all those things into consideration when you figure out what the property is worth. And ARV, if you don't know what that means, it means after repair value. So what the property is going to be worth when you go to sell it. The next thing to know is what it's going to cost you to rehab the house to get it where you want it to go. So some people, it's super easy. If you're a contractor out there, you probably have a good idea of what's it going to cost to paint the house, put new flooring in, put new kitchens in, things like that. But if you aren't familiar with that, there's plenty of tools out there like Rehab Estimator Pro that you could use to help you with. You can also just partner with someone who maybe knows the rehab numbers a little bit better. We have other clients who walk the house with their contractor, and their contractor puts together numbers. So figuring out what the repair is going to cost. And then from that, you just use those 2 numbers to back up into what your maximum offer is on a house. So most people, what they do is they take that ARV, that after repair value, they multiply it by 70, 75, 80%, depending on the area and the confidence in the ARV. And then they subtract their repair numbers from that, and that's their maximum offer. So just making sure they don't go over that maximum offer is really important. If they are going over that maximum offer, it's important for them to know that that's where they're kind of buying in a little bit of that risk.
Yeah, well said. I think a lot of people want to. I've heard people selling the flipping formula before. You just gave it away for free. Holy smokes.
It's a pretty simple formula. Nothing to really sell.
It is. And we're going to be talking about our resources page a little bit throughout this.
Yep.
I think on our resources page on FasterFundsLending.com, there's also some calculators going to help you figure out your rehab numbers too. So if you need a little help on, just estimating what the cost of a kitchen is, or roofing by square foot, or siding, or whatever it is, we got some calculators there to help you out. So,
yep.
Awesome. Let's go to number 2. Number 2 you have down here is manage your property. What do you mean by that?
Yep. So some people love to manage their property. They're going to be, at their property every day. They're going to be basically what's called the general contractor. They're going to be the one, talking to. That's what I do when I do my flips. I call my flooring guy, make him come out there. I go find my own cabinets. I get them installed, and then I have a general handyman that's doing all the work, but I'm coordinating everything. So there's that type of managing your property. That's a very hands-on approach.
Yeah.
Another option is to hire a project manager. We do have some borrowers who use a project manager. What's really important is if you use a project manager, to not be so fully trusting of them. You have to keep an eye out on your property. That means going to check on your property regardless of, who you have doing what and how trusting you are of them. Checking on that property at least once a week, if not twice a week. Because otherwise, you don't know if, they might be doing great work, but maybe they're not doing what you necessarily want them to do. At the end of the day, you're the one with the vision. Yes. And it's your responsibility to keep an eye on the project and make sure things are moving in the way you want them to move.
Yeah, 100% agree. Either manage the property yourself or manage your manager. So
yes.
Just don't buy something and forget about it.
Yeah.
That doesn't work very well.
No,
we've definitely
never
seen people
works.
do that.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. Awesome. Great. How about number 3? Build a great team of people you can trust.
Yeah, so when you think about the team that you're working with when you're putting together a flip, and honestly, this goes for anything in real estate investing, you need to work with people you trust and that you like and that know what you're doing. They get it. So, some of your team is just your contractors. Your contractors are a massive part of your team. You need to make sure that you find the good ones. There's a lot of bad ones out there. We've had several borrowers lately who've really gotten taken advantage of by crappy contractors. and that's what you don't want. So when you find the good people, take care of them, treat them well. The next thing is your real estate agent. If you're not an agent yourself, make sure to actually go and find an agent who cares. Some people, they're like, well, this agent's cheaper. Well, that agent's probably cheaper because they're not going to work on that property as hard as someone you're actually paying a normal commission to. And if you're not sure who's a good agent for that area, you can always ask us. You can go out and find, other people. Don't just hire your friend if they don't have any experience. When you're marketing a flipped house, there's a little bit of nuance there. And so finding a great agent can be really beneficial. The next part is your lender. So finding a lender, obviously, we're a lender and we view ourselves as part of your trusted team. We are out there to look out for you. We're double checking your numbers on the front end. We're a quick, easy call if you're like, hey, who should I call for hardwood floors? I don't know who I should call. We also have an awesome page on our resources page that talks about all kinds of contractors. I will tell you they're not all people we've used, but they're people our different borrowers have used and recommended. So I feel like those are some of your three biggest people to be on your team that, once you find them, treat them well and take care of them and keep doing more and more deals with them.
Yeah, I like to say the real estate business is a relationship business,
Yes.
and this is very important. Build a team of people you trust, and always keep trying to improve that team. The hardest flip is usually the first one or two because you don't have a team yet. You're building your team on the first ones, but it just gets easier and easier if you do a really good job of building a team and create good relationships and so forth.
Yeah, that's a great point. It's never going to go perfectly smooth on your first couple deals. There's going to be some learning lessons and a little bit of hardship, but just kind of getting out there and doing it and talking to other investors and seeing if they're willing to share their trusted people is really beneficial.
Yeah, so we're talking about the 5 steps to a successful flip here. Number 1 was knowing your numbers. Number 2 is manage your property. Number 3 is build a great team of people you can trust. Number 4 is do something to make that property stand out.
Yeah, so, the last couple years, the market has been phenomenal. Yep. You really didn't have to worry about this as much as you did, 4 or 5 years ago and before. And I think now it's starting to get to the point where this is starting to get really important. And I'm already seeing that with the products our clients are putting out. So when you think about, when you're doing a flip, it's so easy to do the exact same wall color, do those same white shaker cabinets, basically just copy and paste. And I think that it's more important now than ever to, it's okay if you copy and paste certain things. You don't need to go out and pick a new paint color every time. You don't need to go out and pick new cabinets every time. But do something unique. We had a client who just, a couple weeks ago listed an awesome house in Lake St. Louis. And all she did was in the hall bath. She actually had issues, I think, taking down the wallpaper and making the wall smooth. So she found modern wallpaper that looked really beautiful and just put, wallpaper in that hall bath and just made that hall bathroom just stand out. And then she also did a really great job with all of the fixtures. She chose to do gold fixtures, which is really in right now. She spent probably a little bit more on her fixtures than, the cheapest option at the store. But those two little things and staging the house just made the house pop. We've also been seeing people get really creative with tile, so tile flooring in their bathrooms and on the backsplash of their kitchen. We had a borrower who, in the basement, she kind of had this awkward sink area, so she ended up turning it into a dog bath. So just thinking about, they don't have to be crazy expensive things that you do, but just being a little bit more intentional with your design. If you're not a design person, maybe finding someone who will help you, whether that be your real estate agent, maybe it's your spouse, maybe it's a friend of yours, someone who can help you pick out those little pieces to just be really intentional with the product you're putting out.
I like that. Do something to make your property stand out. Those are some really good tips. Last one, number 5 of the 5 steps to a successful flip is do something yourself.
Yeah, so when you're rehabbing a house, sometimes people believe that they just, they get a hard money loan, they have no money out of their pocket, they hire, everything out, they hire an agent. and they do nothing.
They buy from wholesalers.
They buy from wholesalers. They're just super hands off.
Yep.
You will not make money doing that method.
It's too competitive. This business is too competitive for that to really work.
Yes. So you have to do something yourself. Now, that does not mean you have to swing the hammer. If you're not a hammer swinger, you don't need to do that.
Right.
But find something within your skill set. So that could be, starting at the beginning, buying a deal direct from seller. That's where you're typically going to get the best buy instead of buying from a wholesaler. Your next option is maybe you are really handy. So maybe you can do some of the work yourself. I know on my first house, I demoed the house with family, and that was awesome, and that saves a little bit of money. So thinking about things like that. Now, that being said, don't do electric work if you don't know how to do electric work. Make sure to lean on the appropriate professionals. The next thing could be maybe you're, you think you'd be a really great agent, or you already are a great agent. Yeah. Listing that house yourself will obviously save you that commission, but make sure you know what you're doing because that's going to benefit you. And then the last thing is money. So if you want to borrow 100%, that's okay as long as you're doing one of those other things yourself, or maybe a couple of those things yourself. But your other option is, maybe you have a little bit more cash, so you're borrowing the purchase price from us, but then you're paying for the rehab yourself. Yeah. That'll save you a bunch of money on dispersing costs and on interest that you're paying.
Well said. So those are awesome tips. Like we said, this is a competitive business. If you're not doing something yourself, adding value somewhere, the margins get really tiny. So
Yep.
Learning one of those skills is going to be really helpful for you if you're going to be flipping a lot of houses. So
Yep.
Anyway, we went through the 5 steps to a successful flip. I hope you guys got some value out of this. See you on the next video.